Alright, this is my 2018 Tacoma. Today I'm going to be installing this pop lock system, or I should say pop and lock. Part number is right there. First thing we're going to do is remove these Torx all the way around this center panel. There we go, T30. I switched to a cordless impact. I don't want to be here all day. Alright, 16 of these total you'll be taking out. The bigger ones go up top. Smaller ones go down the sides and around the bottom. Put them in something safe. After you get all those out, this guy you just lift up closest to the truck and it pretty much just slides right out. Now I'm going to install this actuator here. It's pretty straightforward, real easy. You got the locking mechanism right here, and this little ram right here is just going to work this arm. These two little ears go on, one on each side of this mechanism, and unlock it, lock it. You have one bolt right here you're going to take out, and that will go through this hole right here on your little actuator. And then this black pin, let's see if you can see this, this black pin right here is going to go through one of these holes, whatever lines up with it, and make sure you don't get grease all over everything. Alright, first thing you're going to want to do is pop this guy loose, pull this rod out, and before you can move it you need to get this clip, which I'm just going to do with some needle nose, maybe. There you go. And then after you do that, you can just kind of move this guy out of the way, set it wherever it's safe. Then we're going to take this 10 out here. Alright, so after you get the 10 mil out and you're ready to put this guy in, this part of the mounting bracket here, this little ear, it's going to weave under the latch right here, so it'll feel kind of weird, but just you kind of go in at an angle and then set it down. And the black little pin that is right here is going to go through one of these holes. I believe it goes through the bottom hole. So you're going to kind of just slide it in from this side. And then after you get it in here, you're going to, like I said, weave that ear under the latch. And then it should just kind of fall right into place. Maybe. Oh well, see, mine is hitting on this, so now that I move that. So there you go, that's in place. It has a little bit of play, but then right here, let me see if I can see this right here, you can see, oh, there you go, without the shadow, you can see the spot where the little 10 mil goes, this guy. So after you get done messing with that, you're just gonna kind of finger tight this guy. And like I said, you're going to have to use a wrench to snug it up. Alright, so that's all done. It's nice and tight. And now that you've got that done, we can go ahead and put this guy back, because we're no longer going to need to mess around right here, other than putting the wiring together. So that is all done. Alright, next we're going to pull the wiring out of this tailgate here, so we can go ahead and string our harness along to the cab. These you can get out from here, but they'd probably be easier to get out from the bottom, especially that one right there in the center. And we'll take a look at that right now. Alright, here's a look at this harness from the bottom of the tailgate with it closed. A lot easier access. So on here, this is the little grommet here that comes out of the tailgate. You can see there's these two ears. You just push those and it pretty much just falls right out. And then the same on the one over here that goes into the bed. It's the same exact thing. Just push those two ears and maybe, there you go, that guy comes out just the same. Then this guy right here, you can see this little tab here, should be able to pop this guy loose with the flathead, just like so. and then all your harness is free. Unplug this camera harness under the truck so I can pull it back through to the tailgate. I'm going to pull this guy out, that way I can work out the distance I need to go to where the connections are both in the same place. Excess I'll just zip tie and it'll stay here in the tailgate. And I'm going to leave this guy open, that way we can make sure everything works and it looks good, and then also I can show you how this little actuator works here with the locking mechanism. Alright, so I pulled the whole camera harness out of the tailgate, all like 2 foot of it. But what I'm going to end up doing is, instead of drilling holes through those grommets and stringing that pop and lock harness through, look at how big this is in comparison to the 4 wires that ran through it. So I'm just going to untape this and put my harness inside of this and just retape it back up and just run it through the grommets as normal. And it'll make it nice because it'll be just one single harness with 2 clips, of course, but one single cable, so to speak, if I ever want to take the tailgate off, and look a lot cleaner, and won't be a pain if I'm trying to get it through grommets and whatnot. It'll just go right in. Here's what I ended up doing. I staggered these so they'll go through the hole in the bed, but I just pulled off the little cable conduit here, and just went through and rear electrical taped everything, but strung them together. And I didn't do the whole thing. You can if you want to. It's up to you, but I just did it far enough to get me well within inside the tailgate, and so I can break off, and because I'm going to have quite a bit of excess here. And then I'll go ahead and get this stuff installed, put together, maybe a little dielectric grease, and zip tie these things up nice so they're not rattling around or chafing on anything, and that should be it. But these clips, as you can see, they go on just like normal, so be perfect. Alright, so right here I'm just putting this back in. You can see I strung this back through into where the bed area is, or under the bed I should say, and then this is going back into the tailgate. Comes around. I undid this clip to get the harness out, and this clip right here. That's all that's holding the harness in after you undo that side. And these two, it's a lot easier to work with. Now all I have to do is just put these guys back on. Alright, so got the grommets back in and everything closed up and connected, and as you can see, it looks like nothing ever happened here. And I didn't have to drill any holes or anything, so the grommets were used just as normal. Like I said, there's a tiny 4 wires inside this conduit here, and there's plenty of room for this guy. And then my split where I jumped out with this guy out of the conduit is roughly in this area. And basically what I did was, in there's the 4 wires, and you trace that back, and then roughly in the same area where I jumped out with my other line, I ran into some smaller conduit that was inside of that conduit, and so I just pulled this back and cut it off in this area. And so now this is going to be my excess because the connection is right here. And yeah, so I'm going to have quite a bit left over here. You could cut this down and recrimp ends and stuff if you wanted to. I'm not concerned with it. No one's going to see it. Got the harness bunched up here. I drilled me a couple holes just to be sure. I didn't want to strap to anything that could possibly chafe or anything like that. So I just drilled me a couple holes, hit it with a little paint. But everything's nice and tight, not going to rattle. This runs through using the original connections, no holes drilled or anything like that. Alright, so I hooked that up back there. And you can see it right there at the zip ties running along that gray line. I'm not sure what line that is, if it's the camera or what exactly it is, but it runs the full length. So you see the zip tie up there on this gray line that's covered by this heat shield. I put the cable along the top side of that to protect it from the exhaust, and I just followed it all the way down, and you can see more zip ties all the way down, and you can see the black line there. And then once I got to this little area here, there's kind of like a little split, and it crosses back over the frame rail to the outside of the truck right here. And we're gonna go through that little rubber grommet right there, and that'll pop out right here under the passenger seat. Alright, so I pulled the kick panel. It's pretty easy. You just be gentle with it, but pull straight up. When you get to this front piece up here, there is a nut. You can see it up there, that little bolt sticking out. It's that plastic nut right there. It's just hand tight. You take that off, and then this kick panel that's right here, you're gonna kind of fold it out like towards the center console, and it kind of just sweeps around and pops right off. And once you get that done, the harness that you're going to take off is this one right here. It's the one closest to the outside of the vehicle. And now that I've got that done, I'm going to cut this back and get ready for my splicing. But before I get to that, I need to get the harness actually in here. And we're going to do that through here. That little grommet that we're going to jump through. See if we can see it. It's right there. That's it right there. So I'm actually gonna make me a little hole, slide it up through there. All right, I got the harness pulled through here. And what I did for that little grommet that's below the carpet here is I just used a poker to poke a hole, and you can see it's pretty small. And I went up to, you know, the full-on handle, and I just poked a hole through it. That way I had to squeeze the harness through, and that way it'll be circular and keep a nice tight fit around the harness here. And then I don't have to worry about any kind of water and doing silicone and all that stuff. Then I went and I popped all these clips loose, and I'm just gonna run the harness along here and kind of just make it look pretty and snap it, you know, the clips in, and that will just make everything look nice and neat. And then after I get up there, you can see I have quite a bit of excess cord here. So basically, probably around this mark right here, I'll be cutting this off, all the excess, and then I'll strip some back and do the splices real quick. All right, so I got this unplugged. I cut this back just a hair here, and this guy is roughly the length I need. So on here, we're gonna go green to green on this and blue to red. So these splices are pretty easy to work with. All you're gonna simply do is put the one line in there, and then the line you're gonna go to is going to slide down in there like so, and then you will crimp that into place. Alright, I got both those splices connected, the harness plugged back in, and now we're just going to shut this door and go over here and take a look to see how this works. So everything should be good to go. We can see it's already unlocked, so we'll lock it, and it locks, unlocks. Well, there you go. So now that we've got that done, we're just going to throw those kick panels back in, throw this panel back on. Alright, well there it is, all done. Hope you guys like this video. I try and keep them short and sweet, but sometimes they get a little out of control. You guys don't forget to like and subscribe, man. Help me build this truck and build this channel, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.